claims docket.
Motion.
All in favor? Hey, Sheriff.
Hey, good morning. How y'all?
Good, great.
Good.
Who you got with you there?
Good.
Who you got with you back
Oh,
there?
that's my grandson, Gerald.
One cheat did.
Yeah.
I know that nigga can dump his meat before, I don't think he was in favor.
Thank you. The first item I have is personnel changes. This is the last time you all met.
Make a motion to approve personnel.
All in favor?
The next item on the agenda is the read order on the fourth, we're on the whole that, and then we're going to discuss it later in executive session, I believe, and also on sending a vehicle to the auction. I hold that. Next item on the agenda is authorize the president to sign the FY17 DUI grant application. You have that either?
Make a motion to sign the grant.
Second.
All in favor?
What's the grant for?
That's a DUI, pays for one officer and gives us around $15,000 worth of overtime to also work DUI. And the next item I have is reimbursed triad, $591. That's some money that was left in that grant that could only be spent on travel and it wasn't spent, so we have to give it back to them.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Next item I have is not on the agenda, but last meeting y'all approved for Mr. Joe Montgomery to review a new contract with health insurance, and I think he decided instead of him doing it to ask Adrian to do it. We need to get together on it later. I had a couple of things I reviewed yesterday, but I'm asking for approval to sign it if we agree that we want to move forward with it. They bring forward that on that, but they go meeting. Thank God for you.
This is the way it's going to be transferred.
It is, there's one thing in there that I'm marked where it's a 2-year contract and the anniversary date after 1 year, they want to raise it. says the seventh and eighth, but we actually want to stay on sixth and seventh, because it's gonna end on the eighth at 4 p.m. There's no sense in us staying that night, but if we don't stay on the sixth, we'll have to drive down there and register that afternoon and turn around, come back, and then be back the next morning for last day.
Has everyone looked at travel? And so, make a motion to approve all travel if you would.
I'll make a motion to approve all travel.
Second.
All in favor?
I think I'm gonna have to go to Tennessee next week, that Sean Smoot trial, so I'll be taking my county vehicle and make it on. Yeah, I didn't know that on that evening. That's all I have, thank you.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Get there.
Let's see. You want me to just leave this over there when I take it?
Yeah,
I just need a copy.
yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Which one you get? This,
Okay, you gonna just leave it and get all that over there? Yeah. Okay.
doing cross these. Everything. Okay, Les.
Ready?
Ready.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just have a few things this morning. First on the, I believe it's on the agenda, is the execution of the FY 2017 bridge inspection agreement. That's every year inspection that funded by state aid. I have a program agreement, board order that they prepared and sent ready for your execution.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Second. All in favor? This is, just, acknowledge your inspection.
Right, it's authorized us to conduct an inspection. There's 90 bridges that will be inspected this year. Yeah, we don't inspect every bridge every year, just once. Our critical list. That we're board member sign. I can submit that to state aid. The next thing on the agenda while it's circulating is the Wetlands Conservation Park project on Hobo Sugar Creek, Liberty Road. Project is complete and recommending that we approve final payment to contractor. See on the agenda, the, payment for, application number 2 is on there. We also have application number three ready to approve also. And, the accompanying summary change order. At the end of the project, we do a change order to reconcile any differences in the quantities. And so that change order is made part of this, payout number 3. It's actually change order number 4. That also, in addition to reconciling the final quantities, it, added the signs. The signs are up now, like you've seen, have the park rules and, the sign that identifies the, funding agency, to provide the grant.
We need to acknowledge that second payment and approve. Let me get the one.
Second payment and approved payment, third payment.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge the second payment and approve the final payment for that overall shed project.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Is that part of everything? Everybody call it refers to it as the East Creek. East Creek.
Have y'all had anyone call y'all name after somebody?
You know, nobody's calling about it, you know, it might be something we want to look at.
I got a call from family, about a week ago about it. I told that way, you know, I had to talk to them about all that.
You know, it's what's the controversy.
I think that every time I've been involved in naming something after somebody, it's been a lot.
It's a shame.
Could you name it after somebody, something after somebody, then other ones come back and say, well, I did so and so, and yes.
You're right.
That was
Forget I asked.
that was a motion to acknowledge the payout number 2 and execution of change order number 3. So I guess the second, recommendation is to approve the final pay application number 3 and the accompanying change order number 4.
We did all of it.
Oh, you did all in one motion? Okay, well, I was under the question we did. I can help, Cindy with the wording of that if I need to. And I saw on the agenda that there is an item on down, I can wait until that item comes up, with the, possible Main Street sinkhole. But I do have, if you want to direct me to
Let's go ahead and do it.
okay. What I have is a task order, if you desire to authorize me to provide engineering assistance with getting that done, I have that ready for you. I don't know what else. Just accepting the MDA grant is what's on the agenda, but I do
And
know.
will that be enough to fix the project?
Yes, it's what I understand, there's, $175,000 made available through MDA. And we can, define and a scope that would fit in that budget, that would solve the problem. Of course, that entire drainage system is aging, very old, but where the sinkhole is, where I guess the most urgent need is, so we can repair that sinkhole with
Fix
that.
it wherever they're crossing.
Right. Exactly, there are 2 junction boxes, and what we would seek to do is repair the storm drain between those 2 junction boxes, and that's where the sinkhole is. We do have a video of that, storm sewer, made with the robot that, travel through the pipe, so we have identified the problem area, and we can't fix it without a number.
I talked to Les yesterday about this, and, I guess we're gonna need an interlocal agreement with the city.
Just my.
And I think, we're gonna do the work, we're gonna oversee it, make sure it gets done right. They need to provide the law enforcement, the traffic around that thing, around this. And I'd like for us to consider putting in the contract that be a 24-hour a day operation to fix that. And, the city will
there's only, you know, I guess two other places to cross the railroad tracks, you know, in the city limits. That's Highway 11 and, the interstate.
Michigan, well, they cross the Michigan
Yeah,
Street.
Michigan.
The local traffic, get up Main Street, they're gonna come down Michigan Street and come back in on the other side, this side. It's gonna be a mess, that's.
Or go around on Highway 11, which is a further detour.
Yeah, I agree it needs to be done as quick as possible.
I'll tell you what, hot this weather is, it's out there at night, man,
Absolutely.
All right, we need to get some, can I get a motion for me to sign the NDA?
Motion.
So,
Okay.
And if you want to direct me to slide into yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll make a motion that we, have less, I'm gonna provide engineering assistance over that type of thing.
like that, but
All in favor?
I'll leave less than that.
I have to leave for a few minutes to meet down in Walcott Bluff with the, on the boat ramp project, with the wildlife and fisheries, but I'll be back. My meeting is at 10:30.
Before we get off of, well, I know, on the, I'll let you go here, that's just a second. We need to immediately get some garbage cans down to that new nature trail. Geese Creek, Tater, I don't know, whatever, I seen, on the side of the road, they said, we need to get some bad down there to go pick up. They ain't there, so you can't blame it, they ain't putting it in the garbage can, so.
No, but with the placement of the garbage can, we do need a plan for service, you know, somebody going by routine.
Well, I assume he's gonna do that, but,
Okay.
their crew picks up, whatever, so.
They'll go by, every bags in, that's right.
Right. And we got a sign up down there.
The rules are up and the project sign's up too.
All right, we need to get the duplicate sign, Hudson, and try to put down there on Silver Run. I don't know if you want to go.
yeah, that's a good point.
It's made here locally, so if you wanna, the contractor ordered and bought the sign here, I have to look and see what company made the sign, he had several quotes, and, so they may have a pattern or template to make it.
Same route.
Yeah, they've been, my family lives up there in Florida, they said it gets wild out on Sunday evenings.
Which one are you talking
Wolf
Yeah,
River,
Wolf
Silver
River.
Run, we'll put the bridge and.
about? Yeah, I'll talk about it.
If you have time this afternoon on the way home or something, I've got a little drainage thing to look at.
Okay. Which road is it? Okay. Great, I can't do this one, I did notice anything, of course, I was, I can't see it.
I'll show you.
Okay.
Last, some other thing, I got a letter a week ago, or last meeting over this, the Water Association in, Carroll Central. Was talking of some, replacing some water line, McNeil Carrier Road, effectively, I don't know when, but it's coming up, Hemingfield, McNeil, Whitechapel, Old 11, Highway 11, portion of Anchor Lake Road, Tom Seals Road, portion of West Canyon, Adam Street, Harrison Street, Smith Street, Lee Street, Jackson Street, Amelia, and a portion of Birdstown.
What water system is it?
Central, it says, we do not expect any damages to county or state aid roads. Whatever.
What I would like to do, so are they asking for a permit to place on public?
They're just
public
kind
right
of,
away, or
looks
they
like
gonna
they're
be on
informing
private
us of
property?
some upcoming projects, but I'd like for you to keep an eye on that.
What we require by all utility companies when locating utility on county road right of way is that they submit a permit. I've been authorized in the past to review and approve those permits. The telephone company, gas line company, anybody placing various utilities on public right of way is required by the county to fill out that permit. There's language in that permit that dictates how they'll do their work, first of all. Second, if there's a need to relocate that utility because of a county road improvement project. It's the utility owner's responsibility to relocate the utility outside of, a conflict.
And that's kind of some of these areas on Smith Street, the lines on the edge of pretty much on the road instead of in a ditch where it needs to be. And we go through there and pave it years ago, and then there's grass growing on them streets now.
One of the things that, and I don't know, I can talk with Pearl River Central, I would expect they're gonna seek a private easement. And the location of the line on public property would only be in the event they couldn't obtain an easement. That's typically the way that works. I know on the last Pearl River Central project, they did have a lot of private easement. And, they used county road right away where they couldn't obtain an easement.
Since they're laying new lines, you think they would go ahead and move them in the ditch. Charlie, maybe it's something y'all need to get together on. And, instead of digging up our, a whole section of our roads, retransferring them out to the ditch where they need to be.
If you could contact them and see what they need.
Permit requires they locate in the outside 5 feet of the right of way, no closer to the road than the center of the ditch. That's what the purpose is.
A lot of these lines are asbestos, and they're probably better in the ground anyhow. I don't know why you want to dig them up.
No, they don't, when they abandon an old line, they don't remove the old line. They just abandon it. It's there, but,
Yes, sir.
That's what I was gonna ask, is if it wasn't replacement of those asbestos lines down Highway 11.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
That's basically what it said on that letter.
Okay. All right.
Just y'all keep an eye on, maybe get with them, somebody, contact them, see what their plans are. Just tell them, we want to work with them, we just want to know what they're doing. I appreciate the letter they sent.
Their regular meeting is next Thursday, I think it is, 2:00 in the afternoon.
I found it interesting that they say we have a fair working conditions, working relationship. Didn't say good, didn't say good, it said fair. Where does that mean?
It's good time to put down gas lines too, I'm thinking water line.
An update, when we last met, we talked about the drainage, improvements needed in primarily the southern part of the county. And we sent out a letter requesting right of entry forms to clean debris, beaver dam, vegetative debris from some of our drainage ways to improve drainage to our roads. And some of those, forms have come back signed, some have not, but I would say there's probably down around 20–25% of those easements back in. Just an update on that. I know that based on the contact from the landowners, I don't anticipate getting all of the easements back in, so we may.
How long are we gonna give them?
To respond, there was not a time frame on that. It's been 2 weeks, so that's, a long time.
Well, I'd like to, give them until the next board meeting. And like Cliff says, I don't think they're gonna respond and start with it. He's already told me it's not. So, maybe we'll wait till the next board meeting, if we haven't heard a response, we'll move on.
Well, let's not get together, that'd be valuable letter that if you obstruct a natural drain with something you can prevent, that you may be liable for damage to people up the stream, it's not disturbed to, do you think they're doing good or not?
I don't know, probably not. What do you think, John?
Well, yes, you deal with this all the time.
If we could do that this week, I think that would be good. It'd be a good step, just to keep pressure on the issue.
Well, should I get on the phone this afternoon, we'll go off of this letter and get it out.
There'll be a time frame, then
Yeah.
after that.
And after next
then
week,
whatever.
we're going to proceed with,
Proceed.
in effect, it's sort of eminent domain proceeding.
What we're proposing is not digging a new ditch or even
2015-2016 was a closeout. The Victims of Crime Act grant that pays Anita's some salary and also provides operating expenses for our program. And one of the forms, I need Mr. Smith's signature, and basically this form just sets out how much the Department of Public Safety is supposed to pay for Logan County. They paid most of it already. It also sets out how much they still owe, which is about $4,010. The rest of it's been paid, so the total amount they owe is $54,997.07. We received all $4,010. You know, I just need this form signed by you.
Motion to send the form.
Second.
All in favor?
Let's see, at the bottom there. I've already dated it. I didn't see that. Sorry. Okay. Thank you.
Tax assessor collector. First, business is to set personnel change. Tax assessor collector.
Make a motion to approve personnel changes.
Second.
All in favor? Hello? You do?
The next one we have is our certificate of compliance for 2016 loans.
Acknowledge that. I make a motion, we acknowledge the certificate of compliance from the tax assessor.
Second.
All in favor?
And the last thing we have is the one homestead escape void.
That was, it was this homestead exemption.
It voids the escape, the charge back. It makes them not have to pay that charge.
Make a motion to approve that.
Second.
All in favor?
You know who that was?
What is it I'm looking for?
Yeah, that's the one. that's right there.
Okay, I didn't know the name.
Yeah, that's taken care of.
Thank you. What is, equalization of tax rolls and public notice?
Right. Questions? The board has to declare it closed or
a shed that's torn down or burnt down or something that's on here, and you know, it's not correct, you point that out. We get a tax office, they check it out, and if that's the case, they change it up and incorrect, you go follow, but it's,
It's kinda like my grandpa, he's alive, he had an central air, and he never been central air, he had a window, froze to death. Get a picture of that blanket on Sunday, you all right?
We need a motion to acknowledge that this stuff has been, equalized. I make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Yes, sir. Good.
Is this acknowledging the new state mandated appraisal manual? Is that what's on the plan they sent to us in the mail, telling us how much our appraisals are going up? Is that what you're talking about?
No, that's what I was saying.
what the board is doing is acknowledging that the tax office is fully appraised these properties. And
And they're using the new state mandated manual?
that's up to the tax office, that's required by the tax office.
All right, now, there was something published in the paper about this, was on average, what, 3%?
Well, mine was 3%, I mean, 8 to 10%, but everybody's different, everybody's
Well,
place.
that's what I'm saying, why is everybody different?
I do want to bring that up at the end of the meeting, when we get through this, agenda. I have a lot of questions on that also.
I know, mine, doesn't go up that much because I'm, above the age and stuff, where I don't have to pay a lot of tax anyhow. But, I noticed my daughter's property went up 13.5%.
Everybody's different because everybody has different things on their property, and.
Nothing changed on our property. I mean,
Right, I
it's been
understand
the
that.
same for the last 10 years since it was built.
But what has changed is the values on the things that is on her property. And that's, according to the state manual, the values on, for instance, a wood deck has changed, or a utility building has changed, and if she has something that you don't, that's the reason why it's changed different from her than you.
I don't understand what you're saying. There's no buildings any different? There's no fences any different?
They don't
No
have,
roads any different?
they don't have to be different from what, if I understand.
They're just saying that we can increase value of the property, right? Arbitrary, that's taxation without representation of any kind.
That's not true. Here's the deal, the state legislature tells us tells the tax people how they will appraise the property. They've come up with a different schedule. We have no control over it.
Sure you do.
No, we don't.
You're the board of supervisors.
No, sir, we do not have anything to do with the appraisal value of property.
But you can adjust the millage rates.
We can adjust the millage rate.
We can
That's
do that.
correct. We can do that, that's correct.
I'm
But
asking
we
you,
have
will
nothing-
you?
We have nothing to do with the appraisal value of the property. Following the state guidelines. I'm just being honest with you and telling you. A lot of people think that the board does the appraising too, but we don't.
Well, the tax office does it.
They're audited by the state tax commission. The tax commission tells them what to do. The state legislature tells the tax commission what to do. We don't have that authority. It's just the way the government says. We can change the village.
Yeah, for instance, though, like I said, on my daughter's property, I mean, a 13% increase, me. I mean, have been under appraising the house for the last 15 years?
What's the possibility?
Mine was a 15%, I've heard of some being as high as 40 and 50%.
You're kidding.
We got to September 15th to finalize our budget, our millage rate for the year. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a lot of discussion and working on this problem between now and then. I'm at 15,000 in value myself. And, my phone blew up. I was with someone Friday, a friend of mine, we were trying to get some things done, I couldn't get nothing done. Ain't no sense in calling them back later, you might as well answer at the end, you know what I mean? But people are irate about it, and they have very well opposition to it.
I'm not irate, I just don't understand.
Well, some people are, I mean, it was a tremendous amount for some, and not as much for others, but, I think the board, when the rest get back, we're gonna sit down and hash out what we're gonna, the plan of action, and like I said, September the 15th will be the final date to move.
Well, we've got until August first to voice a complaint.
Right.
Or file a
I
complaint.
figure the next meeting we'll have a lot of discussion about what's going on with it. If we can get everybody from tax off there, not one person get attacked, not everybody get attacked. But, even someone from the state, I'd like to, like I said, Gary, get someone from the state down there at that meeting.
Yes, sir.
Try to help explain to the public, what went on, how it come about.
The gentleman's name is Tony Lower. He works in the property tax division in the Department of Revenue. I spoke to him personally. Basically, what he said was, it is totally discretionary. It's an update. It's not a state mandate. You don't have to follow it. It's a guide intended to assist assessors in accurately appraising homes fairly, so that new assessors that come on board that are newly elected, have no knowledge in the building materials arena, have a guide to follow. But once your taxes has received its initial appraisal, it then moves to a different category of a depreciation category. So if you make no changes to your property should go down by 2.5% every 4 years. Now, if you make changes to your property, you improve your property, so your taxes may go up. The only other method of raising your property taxes is through the Board of Supervisors raising your taxes as a result of needing for more funding. The mandate Mr. Beach refers to is a manual that has been in existence for about 55 to 60 years. They get updates. Those updates state what the property, what the values are of the materials, as Tisha just said. You can't sit here and convince anyone, and that's why this gentleman's a little upset, and I'm sure everybody else is either, that a 2x4 that you buy today at a lumber store is the same value as the one you bought when you built your house 20 or 25 years ago. That's why they have a depreciation category. What Gary has done is create a lot of anxiety on a lot of part of his office unnecessarily, because he has no authority to raise taxes, only you are. But by stating that it's a mandate, state mandated, that's not true. That's inaccurate. Those updates are to apprise those assessors of the going price of building materials to fairly appraise a home, to prevent excessive taxes for someone. If they didn't have a guy, and a guy who has no knowledge of building materials may come to your property and over-excess it and just destroy you financially. That's why the guy's there. It's not to exceed it. It's totally discretionary, but you can follow it. That's my understanding. Now, given that, I was not totally satisfied. I called the assessor in Lamar, the assessor in Hancock County, the assessor in Stone County, and the assessor in Harris County. And each one of them stated the same thing. There's no new manual. The manual they've been operating has been the same manual they've been operating on 50 or 55 years. They get updates. Basically, the updates are to apprise them of the building materials prices so they have a fair and accurate assessment. Again, that applies to new construction only. He said, Mr. Lowe, if you need him to come down here, he's a phone call away. And I could supply you with that phone number. Of course, it's the Department of Revenue at the state in Jackson.
What's his first name?
Tony Lower, L-O-W-E-R, Tony Lower.
It's L-A-W-L-E-R. If we do not go by that manual and they come audit us, we fail our audit if we don't go by that manual.
Well, I understand that, Tish, and it's not, I'm not saying don't go by that manual. You need that manual for the reasons I stated. There are people out there that don't have the knowledge in building materials or anything, but at the same time, you can't take the price of building materials today and try to apply it to a home that was built 20 or 25 years ago, or even 15 years ago. Because it just doesn't matter. It doesn't compare.
The mandate that they've made us follow, if they said a wood deck is $1.60 a square foot, and we don't have that wood deck $1.60 a square foot, and they come audit our books, which they do every single year, they pull certain amounts from the county to look at. If we don't have that at what the manual has, then we get audited and they give us points. It's on a certain scale, and we can fail that audit.
Well, I think, and that was discussed when I had on the phone. If that were being the case, then all you gotta do is go drive to that property and look at the condition of that property, which is what he said too. It's a crazy scenario because
If you neglect your property, you don't paint it, you don't keep it up, your property value goes down.
You're right.
But if you keep it up and you paint it and you maintain it, your property value goes up.
Right, and
It's
we do
insane.
have the ability to lower or raise the condition based on that. If it's just in poor condition, we do lower the condition of it, and we put our reason why.
Absolutely, and that's it, you answered my question. So, it's there, but it's subject to discretion.
I think we need to get in touch with Fish
I will.
and maybe let's put that, get our next meeting, let's get our business done and put all that at the end.
Okay.
I know it's gonna be a big, long
Yes.
thing that we need to talk about, so.
And I think it's important that the newspaper puts something out advising the community that meeting will be intended for that, so people can attend.
We'll do our normal business. We'll, give us, hopefully they can come and they can explain to the board and any questions in the public.
It's gonna be the August the 1st meeting.
August first, yes. We'll try to find a time on the agenda, to get with Cindy and let's put it toward the bottom, that we'll get our business done and then we can really get a discussion on that. I know it's gonna be a hot.
Before lunch or not, you know, you have your one, just see how it
We
goes.
need to see, and
Okay.
then, you know, I don't know how big the agenda's gonna
Right.
be. I don't want to tie up employees here all day sitting to do things and then knowing this is gonna be something we're trying to talk about otherwise. Jeff? All right. Got here. This inventory change, is that next?
Make a motion to approve inventory changes.
Second.
All in favor? Next is our, I guess this is certified people that are running for election commissioner in November. Want a motion to set that?
Just accept the tax position, set to the November election. There's only one, everybody's on except one.
I'll make a motion to accept the attached candidate petitions for the election commissioners for the November 1st election.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Has the qualification date already passed for that?
And if anybody wants to know, District 1, 2, 3, 4 had no opponent. District 5 has an opponent. Michelle Boyd, I guess now you said that now, she is the current election commissioner and she has an opponent of John State.
All right, next we have the Brown Family Cemetery. I don't think no one's here from Brown Family. They don't need to be. Can I get a motion to accept the Brown Family Cemetery? Looks like everything's in order on it.
You know, and it does, they do a good job. There's one thing that these people need to be told, that they need to have some covenants exactly who can be buried in that cemetery. Down the road, with their own protection. The Brown Cemetery deal looks like they kind of maybe covered that, but I'm not sure about the burial count. But I'll make the motion, we approve the Brown Family Cemetery.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, next we have the Berry Family Cemetery.
Make a motion, we approve it. They did the survey and everything, and got a road in there.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, next we have acknowledge the Thurber Basin
Yeah, they, and so about an hour or so, they got this four came down, and went over and took pictures of it, walked out.
Nothing that you see where?
Yeah, I went down and flew over and took a video of the picture that morning.
When did this?
Come down, Monday. Yeah, Monday. Yeah.
Monday, I didn't get to go.
No, they had a change up, it's supposed to be a bigger thing, and it was like, only ended up being one guy from Ford, he just drove down and took pictures.
This other thing here we're just talking about is just a,
That's the recreation grant.
right, recreational grant from per basin development and some reimbursements for some playground equipment purchase for a walk-on love water park, $4,750.
You just need to acknowledge receipt of that.
Yeah.
So motion to acknowledge receipt.
Second.
All in favor?
You don't mind wait on that subject, if we could discuss it just a minute. They put that, they call it a weir, W-I-R, W-I-R. We put that in 1998, and according to their own words, it doesn't work. According to their own words, they like to fix projects that they do that don't work. It has been at least 16 years and they haven't fixed it. And I think it's pretty apparent to everybody there that it's gonna take some, political pressure from Washington DC to get them to fix it, or it's just gonna keep talking about it and not do it. And I think, you know, we need to look at going to, some of us need to make a trip to Washington to talk about that, about this hospital, about other issues. There's skin there. It's not gonna change until we get involved in this and put some political pressure on it. That's just my ideas about it. Apparently they have the money to afford us. But, Ken, I was just telling them that it looks apparent to all of us that looked at that situation out there, it's gonna take political pressure to get the court to do that. What I call it, Larry, yeah, I'm sorry, Larry. You were interested in that?
No, I think it's very good.
Well, we,
Do something with it, I mean, if it has not worked for 18 years, it can be then, they can do it.
well,
It's supposed to create a 50-50 split between the flow of water below it. Right. And it's running, even the guy from Ford said it didn't work. It's not fixed.
Can I get a motion to open a public hearing for Kings Mill subdivision? Can I get a motion? All in favor? You have a sign-in sheet going around.
Part of the problem on that Troll River is it's silted in. It needs to be dredged out so the water will go back through there.
You want me to read it around, Adrian?
This subdivision, it was started about 8.5 years ago. It's actually gonna be a mobile home park, should change it all, and, down there, Mark there. Actually, we reviewed everything, it's pretty nice subdivision, it's gonna be curved to the streets. The house in here with, you know, he has some questions for John Bond, they went back, verified everything, turned it all back in. And the only thing we're gonna ask for, is we're asking them variance lot size is a little bit smaller than what the regulations say. They've got adequate parking, curb gutter streets. Actually, even on the current street that's out there, Little Barrett Road, they feel the right of way set aside on that. If we ever need to expand that road, they give a right of way to widen, the existing county road again. Well, thank you. They've done a good job on it.
Well, actually, it's in Lower Picayune, it's not in Nicholson. But, and it's for the elderly, so myself and Mr. Shield and Mr. Montgomery would be the only ones eligible to live there. But, and we're trying to get a gated community for the elderly where they have quick access to the interstate, where they can go where they need to.
And Mark, you did say these streets would be privately maintained, correct?
Yes, sir.
Hey, did you say that was all on park?
No, it started out about 8 or 9 years ago with mobile home, and it switched to actually town home style.
It was the old Piper.
It was a
Years
trailer
ago.
park, the old Piper trailer park. It's, the street's gonna be curb gutters, each home has, parking spaces, they actually got some green space in it, laid out in it.
That's what Williamsburg Road runs into?
Williamsburg gets into it. We had it approved for mobile home park, so, eight years ago, it would have been about $100,000 tax basis. Now it's gonna be about a $7.5 million tax base for the town.
How many units are you talking about, park spots?
71 units,
Okay.
individual houses. And that's $7.5 million before that new thing goes into effect that they were talking about. I don't know what it's gonna be now.
8.4 million. That's what everybody says about taxes, that's what mine went up to, and I'm not happy either.
Yes, I need to show you mine. And say it's because I live next to Sandy. I don't know.
I don't break it down.
It ain't working, is it? Anybody got any questions?
What did you say the name of it was?
Kingman.
You said it's more you now, Mark, you got streets and all done.
No, sir.
We haven't started anything till we're
It's
first.
just preliminary plan.
Yes, sir.
You know, these lots.
Got a trailer there, it says office.
I'm glad somebody's there to.
Yeah. You can ask if it's in the public.
Any more questions, comment on this development?
And the board would, I think, need to waive the requirement of residential 1A, which has a minimum 7,500 square foot lot size. You do that too?
Yeah. That's kind of the trend in this country is to go to smaller lots, portions of lots. Government transportation seems to be the way of the future.
Can I get a motion to close the public hearing? All in favor? Now. All right, how's the action?
Need a motion to approve the preliminary plat of Kingsville subdivision with the only variance variance on the lot side.
Waive the
Variance on the variance on the front side. Got, it's gonna be serviced by Nicholson Sewer and Water, all that states under
Mark.
If you want to do gears, I may need one of them.
Is it age requirement or, previous political involvement? Either one qualify.
What about these, do we need to acknowledge this monthly report from the planning department?
I'll make a motion, we acknowledge the monthly report from the planning department.
I'll second that vote.
Did that cover the bill? Can I get a separate report from Nicholson Volunteer Fire Department for minutes from July 2015 through March of 2016?
I'm sorry, what did he say?
I need a motion for the Nicholson Volunteer Fire Department.
I will make a motion.
Second.
Next is Third Basin Development District audit reports. Motion to
We
acknowledge.
do them all at one time.
We do them all at one
Yeah,
time?
we just roll them all.
Okay. Also on hospital?
Yes.
Okay.
Make a motion, we accept,
Yeah, we do.
accept the audit reports on the hospital and Florida-based development, Texas Fire, volunteer fire department.
That completes everything, no? Send out it, leave nothing out there.
Well, no, the sheriff's hit too.
Yeah.
Yes, the,
This is executive.
but other than that, everything's done.
Hey, Sandy,
Yep.
I just need the board to acknowledge in the minutes, I applied for a Homeland Security grant for some rescue equipment. And I just want to make sure that you guys are aware that it needs to be acknowledged.
Okay.
And,
You need us to take some action on that? or-
Just an acknowledgement to make sure, so the board, it doesn't look like I, it's really a timeline issue. And it just doesn't look like this.
right, where's it at?
Better have it now, like, everybody knows.
Do whatever you want, I just take a minute.
I did.
But I need it, I don't know what it is, y'all don't know.
All right, we'll have to, we'll work on that later. Get right.
And when you get anything done with the emergency siren?
Sir?
If you ever get anything done with moving the emergency siren?
Yes, that's state completed.
Been completed?
Yes.
Hey, how are you?
He's been on for 5. Go on, it's around.
Much more than that.
Talked to Lon Slayton, they said, that's what Jesse is on. Is what we're talking about.
All right, guys, I see the election commission has stormed the building.
They're coming, there's 2 more out there, they're coming.
Y'all, we are at the end of the meeting, so, I know you got something about.
Hey, we just seen we were on, and then Nancy got a hold of us, that's why we were late. Y'all had to approve us to,
Y'all good to go.
we got
Whatever was on the agenda was approved, which was acknowledge y'all for all these.
yeah, Nancy got a hold of us over there. We losing ground of space over there, so that's why we were late. They running us off.
Y'all,
We've been.
We're gonna get you, we're trying to get you.
Too late. Got more technical.
Thank y'all.
All right.
I see, you here today, we talking about you on the utility authority side, or?
I'm just here.
Okay.
I just came to visit. If y'all need anything from me, I'll be happy to talk to you.
Thank you. Adrian, next board meeting, we'll have some talk about our sewer in the jail. We've got to, pay off a loan that we had, and, once it's paid off, then we'll get reimbursed. Back.
Did the original, was you there when we did that agreement on the grant and all at the jail again?
Not for the grant to build the plant, but I was there when we did the agreement to do the operation.
Okay. We're going to pay the loan off that we have, and then once we do that, I know, Heather's talking to me, Joe about it, we've got a survey out that we're gonna get this on the next meeting, pay this USDA off, that way we've got it free and clear, and that way we transfer it to y'all, there's nothing on it.
Everything's operating properly out there.
Yes.
The only problems we have is just the breed comes out of jail, that's the order of whole city in one cases, but, other than that, it's working fine. And, I think the ball basically on school is finished.
We're gonna get this done and then be able to turn it over.
Now, Heather will be out of pocket, if you try to reach her, she's gonna be out of pocket a little bit, she's expecting her first child here in maybe about 3 weeks, so if you try to call her and you can't get her, that's where she's at.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's a Sprite soda too.
We covered, I'm fixing to turn it over to D20, you start first.
All the thing I've got, I mentioned a minute ago, I think we can look, first off, see like our appointment with that contract, we can go over and talk about this hospital. Make sure that we get that done. We can also talk about that flare out there on the river, make sure we get towards it and stuff.
They work really that.
That's all I got.
Here's an open formal meeting from MDOT, like process doesn't work. It's got some dates on here. Department of Transportation, statewide transportation, improvement program. It's got some dates, Tuesday, July 19th, Hattiesburg, July 22nd. I'm gonna give it to the paper, maybe. Y'all can get it, I'll pass it around, but, everyone's always asking about those meetings, MDOT, they're coming up.
While you're on the subject, this may be a stupid question. But, you know, our state highway, the road out so secure in our county, and that is one thing I think that hinders, or adds to the hindrance of people wanting to move in here, because you're gonna come in on interstate highway or a state highway, and a lot of the grants, Mr. Joe told about the other day, is waist high and head high. And I was talking with a district owner the other day, and he said they allowed him to cut it one time. And so it looks like they're gonna approve for him to come back and take his shoulders. Same thing back. He said it hurt, they only gonna allow him one time to cut them. And he said he has 6 people. There's 6 of them, is all they are, that cover the quarter of the county.
two tractors sitting down there that hadn't been moved for a week because we've been blacktopping. We had to pull the drivers off the blacktop out of crew. You know, and thought that we were gonna have to hire some people.
Right.
Those tractors need to be rolling every day.
Exactly.
One thing that struck me though, from what the supervisor said was he's going people to go do the other county. They got station people in their counties too. Why are they robbing our people to go over there? That's a question we need to ask Mr. King. You know, I know the casinos are on the coast and they do a lot on the coast and that's fine, but we've got to get our fair share too. So I mean, I think we need to get in touch with them.
I do too. People notice it, I do.
Yeah.
I've had people ask me, when they gonna mow the grass?
And I think the crews he's talking about are the ones that do Highway 11, Highway 43. Now, the ones on the interstate, if you notice, they're like they're contracted out.
Right.
But you got 53, you'll grow up.
Right, exactly.
26,
53, 46, 43.
We're blessed with a lot of roads, but that's almost first.
yeah, absolutely. But you know, I mean, if we could even work out, like I said, I don't even know if it's possible, somebody else, them paying us to, mow them, but like you said, if we had to hire another crew or whatever.
I like
County would stand out in Mississippi.
I started taking a picture last year, I went to Bogalusa a lot last year, coming in, the grass had grown up and was obscuring the welcome to Mississippi sign.
I was looking yesterday on one of them at that, it's on 43, somewhere between my house and here. It grew high enough that it was obstructing the speed limit sign.
Well, you know, we got about 1,100 miles state aid and all we keep up. You multiply that by 2 for both sides of the road, that's 2,200 miles. I have trouble keeping my yard mowed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Hey, Russ.
I was down at the Welcome Center in Nicholson when they had their 40th anniversary, and Tom King was down there. And I showed him a photo that I had taken of the Welcome to Mississippi sign where the grass had grown up so high. But I had talked to one of the local fellows who had gone down with a weed eater and had weed eated around it. Because when people stop on the side of the road and send somebody down there to stand by the sign to get their picture taken, they don't need to be waist high in grass. And I just kind of put it on him. I said, if you go right across the Pearl River, I said, that section of Interstate 49 has been mowed several times this year. And I said, oh, it's bad up here. So I tried to embarrass him and tried to bring it to his attention that the grass needed to be mowed more often.
Well, I know it's on 43, they usually cut it once a year. That's why I used to do it. I know there's only so many of them, but when they rob them, bring them to other counties, and how many of these other counties have, I don't know, we'll get Les to maybe help me, send an email or something to the effect of Tom, or call him, see what's going on with that.
You know, Sam King, all this boils down to money. And, you know, we really, that's what, I think what I like to propose that we do in the next month or so is have a town hall meeting somewhere, invite the public, and let's explain to the public, get the maps out, let them show the general public what money we got to work with and the issues that we face. And just, it wouldn't be a place for somebody just to be ditching and raising cane, but to make them understand how little money we have to spend on the roads, where your tax money's going. And the state just keeps cutting their prop costs and sending it down to us.
We've already had 2 positions we had to take over because of cuts in the state through DHS, other state agencies. Man, I think what really people, puzzles people and they don't really understand is what little we got to go with roads as far as money wise. Well, that's a tremendous amount of, they think the overall picture of the home tax payment and all goes to the roads too. And I mean, I have to break it down for them a lot of times.
I think we ought to do board meeting, we're not gonna have the people come, I was talking about having a town meeting. Love video, put it on social media, and if people that don't wanna come, invite people there, have some coffee and cold drinks, and explain to them, show them these big charts of where our money goes, how little money we have to work with, and the issues that we face, like the courthouse, like getting these other people for, offices that we do. I mean, there's a lot of issues out there that public just don't know. They would support it a lot differently if they knew.
And give you a different outlet because
Give a different outlet.
what is an average about 28% of what they pay in taxes or so goes in the general fund, somewhere thereabout. You know, people think, well, I pay $1,000 taxes. Yeah, $250 to $280. We get, that's how much we get out of it operating.
Well, people don't just, let's done it in the last board meeting. They prioritize the road. Priority 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 4 doesn't need anything. 1, 2, and 3 need work on. The material to fix those roads, $8 million. Material. And we spend about $500,000 a year on material in our budget. Now, there's 200, what we figure, 265 miles that need fixing. And about $40,000 a mile. I mean, if you go there and fix them, if you can fix them for $40,000 a mile.
And right now, we get them to do about 8 to 10 miles a year at the most. At the very most.
And the problem is you fix 8 and 10 more get in bad shape because we haven't done the preventive measures. I mean, we're gonna have a real frank discussion about the tax. My tax went up a bunch. I added up, the cards I got was $100,000 in increase. Okay, so look, I'm talking, I understand the pain. But, you know, being kind of overzealous about it, most people the only road they see is between their house and town. And they want it fixed. All right, well,
You're absolutely right, because, you know, I get, my district is probably longer than most counties, because I take in a good bit of Picayune all the way to the north county line, and people in the north end of my district always claim we get left out, the people up here in the north, look at our roads. I said, well, no, the only reason you believe that is because you haven't been to the south end and rode those back roads, you know? They're just as bad.
Well, we got, hey, we got to face it, you know. We asked for this job. It's difficult, and it's hard to see if you got any money. I wish we could cut tax. If everybody behaved, we quit breaking the law, we'd cut taxes in half.
And part of the problem is the way that we're taxed in this city.
Yeah.
I have argued with several legislatures over my years. Very, very few of them understand how county government is taxed. You know, their theory up there that they all live in is sales tax and income tax. You know, if they lower the sales tax a little bit or something like that, and you spend more, then the state gets more money, tax money. Or if they lower the income tax, you know, it's gonna make people move here and you're gonna get more money. The problem is, that's good on the state level because it turns over. But the only tax that the county gets to move with is anything is on your house and your property here. And it doesn't.
A lot of people believe we get money out of the sales tax from these dollar stores and country stores.
Look, there is no telling how much, since Dollar General and Family Dollar did their deal and started going out, there is no telling how much sales tax we, and the state does not want to give any of it to the counties because that is their baby, that's their cash cow. They work off that sales tax.
If we could actually get even a cent or two added to, a couple of cents added for the county, we could actually lower people's property tax.
Yeah, but like I said, we're not getting any sales.
No.
Here's the thing, and this is a legislative problem. But if you look at the way the stuff is taxed, you go out here to the timber companies, and I'm not picking on, but the timber and the big farm, they pay about $4 an acre a year. And they'll lease it for hunting for 8. And that's controlled by the legislature. We got no control over that.
And they do more damage
And
to our
they
roads.
tear up the road.
They do more damage to our roads than anybody out there.
Well, it's part of our economy, but you're right, they the ones that do the damage, and they pay the least. Now, they got a lot of acres, so they get a lot of money, but there's something wrong when they can lease it for hunting for twice what they're paying in taxes for. And so the bottom line is, the way the legislature, I mean, we were talking about this earlier, the way the legislature said, it's a small homeowner, landowner, small landowner that pays it. I got a 1 acre lot over in the house, cost me $250 a year, and there's nothing on it. Okay? Paper company, and here's what drives me. We go talk to them about economic development. You know how much they want for that timberland? $5,000 an acre. And get $4. But you know why that happened? Because I think years ago, the money people that owned all the land was in the legislature.
Yep.
And we have not elected people that can go up there and fix that.
I think one of the big things too was states losing a lot of tax money is the internet system where you buy things and you don't pay sales tax on it anymore, and nobody's really going after that.
Well, but that don't affect us as a county.
I know, but I'm just talking about the state.
Right.
If they don't get that money, they gotta cut somewhere, so they cut us, okay? But millions of dollars are going uncollected by things being shipped in here that are not collecting sales tax.
Right, you're right.
Here's, I looked at this, I thought long and hard about it, because it obviously affects everyone of us, including us on this board. As an individual, if I sit down and I know how much money I have coming in and how much I got going out, if I got more going out than coming in, I got two choices. I either gotta work harder to get some in, or I gotta get rid of some of my stuff. I gotta sell the boat, or do this, or do that. As county government, we're sitting here, we got so much coming in, and we got all this stuff, but we can't go out there and say we're gonna abandon 150 miles of road. We can't tell people we're gonna shut the sheriff's office down. We're gonna shut the chancery clerk's office down. I mean, we can tweak it, and we can twist, and we can squeeze, get rid of the cell phones and pick up trucks, and that's a drop in the bucket. It's a dilemma, but if we're gonna pay for our stuff, and everybody wants good roads, everybody wants them mowed, the ditches cleaned out, the culverts fixed, the driveways fixed where they can get on the road. They want the police to show up. They want the records kept. It costs money. I mean, our dilemma is how we use it the most effective way, but we're going to have to look at these budget folks, and whether people like it or not, we're going to have to make some hard decisions.
I just would like a phone system that works.
Well, I mean, you gotta have a phone system. How much that cost? $200,000 for a phone system.
Mine's not working right now at the office.
But you know what? When the public wants to talk to you, they don't want a phone that doesn't ring. They want to talk to you. They want to talk to you right now. And they want a phone system. And they don't see that we spent $250,000 to fix your phone system so they can do that. But they want to talk to you.
And when the phone system does work, and they leave me a message, the system deletes it.
Last year, just on the same thing that you're talking about, last year we was going over the jail budget, the sheriff department jail budget. And, we wondered if there's any way we could. So we went down line item by line item. And most things at that jail, there's nothing that you can actually do. If I remember correctly, which I know I'm real close, like on medical, over $500,000 spent by county taxpayers on medical for inmates. And, how can you cut it? Because like dental.
We arrested people. That's not way to do it.
Yeah, and Hudson made a good point, because I don't think maybe everybody has stuff on, but people would behave, and what he meant by that is the general public, citizens of the county, where you didn't have so many people arrested in partially. If the sheriff wasn't doing a very good job, where there wasn't many people out there, it wouldn't be so expensive, but if he does his job, it's expensive. The light bill out there is tremendous, and water. I mean, it's that's a big hole in our pocket, in the jail.
it's like,
That's the place to be today, though, is in jail.
it's like Malcolm said.
You got air conditioning.
You got a guy there, he's sick, you better take care of him, or you'll be sued. Won't be, if we gonna be humane. Now, we can sit here and try to get the cheapest health care we can get, and we do that. But we can't just say we're not.
Yeah, like on the dental, we've got it down to where, sheriff got the lowest price he could from dental place here in town to care to, and our policy is that they pull it. But still, pay for pulling a couple thousand teeth.
You know how to fix that? I mean, this is a side story. It's true story.
Off the record.
This is really kind of fun. I used to carry soldiers to annual training. We'd go over to Red River Army Depot. Well, all of these guys say, well, they don't want to work. They'd say, my tooth hurts. So we'd have, you can't tell them they can't take the dentist. So we'd have to call them down to Shreveport, to Barksdale Air Force Base, because their teeth hurt. Well, it was a day down there, and it took all day, so I didn't get into work and training done. And I said, how am I gonna handle this? And this boy went down there, and they pulled a tooth, and it got infected, and his head swelled up, looked like it's gonna explode. He looked like Darth Vader on the Star Wars. You know what? That solved everybody's tooth problem. Nobody wanted to go to the dentist anymore. Anyway, I gotta go, folks. I got somebody. Anything else?
Sheriff, what you need?
Yeah, we need to go in executive
Yeah,
session.
Mr. Joe wanted us to go in executive session and talk about these forfeiters, and, he and you and I was gonna get together on this contract, which we don't have to do that.
Let's go in executive on the forfeiture deal.
Danny's got something real quick, this, grant for, Department of Homeland Security. Can we get a motion to acknowledge this? It's application, right, you going on? So-
Yeah, I sent it off, just,
Okay.
you guys know what I'm doing. Acknowledge it.
Got a motion to acknowledge this Homeland Security grant?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
You don't have any lawnmower business?
Well, I'm getting it out. Y'all wanna talk about this or look at it? Okay. Let me get the sheriff.
You wanna do it, or you wanna wait till next meeting?
On what?
Lawnmower.
It don't matter to me. I got time. Go ahead. If you want to do it, fine. They need a lawnmower. The grass is going getting taller, I guess.
What,
Well, I understand they want to put one of the boards that you use every day at the jail.
Right.
And my dear, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Does that sound real? I mean, what Red Top's asking for is, he said the mower that y'all used at the jail, was broke and really not repairable. And, what he wants to do is us buy him a new lawnmower, put the, one of them he has at the jail for them to use.
That'll be fine.
Does that sound correct?
That's good, yeah, that's what the one we got, that's kind of the way we got it. That's good.
And he said it's in good shape, brand new motor, new deck. I mean, it's not a piece of junk that's passed.
That's good.
Supposedly.
And he's not getting them to the point out, because the one we got now has lasted several years after it was headed down through them.
Well, they just put a motor on it.
Yes, Brad's got a new motor on it.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I think he put a new deck on it, maybe.
I'll look at it. Yeah, I'm good with that. You want to make a motion?
Yeah, and, but we got 3 quotes here. Can we just go with the least expensive, does it matter if the state be a contractor or not?
I'm sure the plane on space, yeah, this was lowest.
I don't even know what's on the state bid.
I know that Darren, this is, I guess I'm on the paper, but Darren told me that,
trucks on, I don't know, wherever y'all
Is
need.
that the best price?
Yeah, that's the brand prize, and that's the one that he wants. I'm like you, I really don't care. I want to get the grass cut.
As long as he gets the truck.
6,100 XP.
What do y'all, you don't wait, we'll go ahead, we'll try to, I don't matter anymore about.
So if you offer, I'd say drop something off on the weekend in the jail. I think one on the weekend.
What do you want to do, Dan? I'm not touching up. Let's get him a mower if he needs one.
Here's the thing about it, you know, he's out there mowing every day. And I don't know how well some of the trustees take care of the lawn mowers either, so. I'm not different than the sheriff, but I hate to send a brand new one down there for a bunch of trustees. Really don't care if they out there mowing or not, and I'd rather have. Give them a mower, I don't.
That top does service and take care
Yeah,
of
he
it.
takes care of it, he get a lot of hours.
And that's what he said he liked about the bad boy too, it was the easy service when you could get.
My question is, do we have money, what place is it gonna come out of? We over budget, maybe we need to do something.
We just gotta take it out of the park, but
How we running our recreation.
Call you, you would answer.
I didn't know you were talking.
Well, they're just big. Yes, he does, someone told me he had to give it to me, because I was ready.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so he's- Look at him.
He's talking about a little bit.
Good thing.
What,
What do you want to do, Sam?
what, I mean, I've been here for a long time.
You don't want to buy one? I like the motor.
I think we would.
Buy the bad boy buggy. The buggy, not the bad boy mower.
I don't think.
Before you break up, I'd like to mention one thing, y'all. I was coming up Highway 11 the other day, and I couldn't believe my eyes when I got to Ozone. Have y'all seen that?
It looks great. It looks
I-
great.
it's nice.
It is.
Just get them there.
I will take a picture, send it to you yesterday.
Man, when you go back to Picayune, if you would take a picture, it's a common.
They called it Ozone City Hall, one man called me, but, and that ain't what it is. It's, it used to be a flea market there.
Where the overpass goes across the low overpass right before you get to your office, you know, there on 11, that's right going back towards town, it's all those buildings right there.
You see, they got some center blocks left up, they tear them down and they smoke, they kind of burn, you know.
Motion is good things come to those that wait.
Well, no, it's coming down through the county's efforts, and it really looks good. If you would take a picture and put it in paper, a lot of people would really be happy.
So what is it, it's an old flea market that you're thinking of?
It was the biggest eyesore in the area.
Yeah, and that was probably one of the, of course, locally, it's not good as it was in my district, but I still got a lot.
That's mine.
Yeah, I still got called, but that's not as sure, not as many as you did, I'm sure, but it was probably one of the worst places in the county.
It's going to enhance that area quite a bit.
And the blocks may be down by the time you get there, because they were working on it this morning, and they probably only had about 15 foot of blocks left, but there's a big old pile of orange clay dirt.
And whoever did it did a good job, they did it neat and clean.
I'm told it's great.
Grady did it.
Who did it?
Grady Strand.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yes, sir.
Sandy, could I ask Hudson something?
Sure.
Plus, so you're right about your taxes, buddy, $4 an acre. I was just asking Gary, I said, how much timber ground in Bourbon County? He said, over 50%. So I said, well, Gary, how many people is under 75,000? He said, a third of the people. So if you take 55 or 60%, you take 35%, so that leaves 25%, 20% paying the taxes. So, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not arguing with you.
Oh, you're right.
You see what I'm saying? The burden is on us.
It always has been.
Right.
Look at the federal bill, look at your income tax.
But
10% of the people pay all the taxes. This is the way it is.
Birds on
Been
the
up.
workers, birds on the working man.
That's right.
So-
It ain't fair. I didn't say it was fair.
Right.
I said it's just a fact. But state legislature controls that about timberland. They have to fix that. That could be fixed. All they have to do is pass whatever their tax is on their forestry land, it's times 2.
Yeah, think about the extra income to the county, that would be, you just go to $8 an acre. Like you said, if it's over 50% of the property, think about that many acres times $4.
Warehouse is the largest single taxpayer in the county.
Well, but that's being taxed in woodland rates, but it's not at woodland rates anymore. It should be at woodland / recreational land.
Or real
Because
estate.
they're being used for dogs
Should be a
and parks
commercial
and
park,
something else.
5,000
The
acres.
usage has changed since way back when that was first set up. When it was first set up, land was left open and it was plenty of fishing and hunting going on. Then they decided to sell a permit. Then they decided to start leasing it out to the different clubs, and the usage had changed.
Here's the deal. Everything in this state is taxed off of what it will produce. I mean, what it's worth, except timberland and farmland is what it will produce. Am I right? Has nothing to do with what it's worth.
Right, but just, like we talked about earlier, they want $5,000 an acre for it.
That's right.
Well, then because they said it's commercial land. Well, if you were saying it's commercial land, then we need to be able to tax you for it.
Exactly. They just, you need to get a legislature.
Got an open spot coming up.
Not for me.
I got one other question. Our courthouse over here, is it supposed to be on the historical register?
It's an historical building, I don't know.
Who says it is? Where can I find this? I've looked all over the place, and I can't find a list of historical buildings in Pearl River County. I found one historical one, and it's a resident out here somewhere. They won't even show a picture of it.
Mississippi Department of Archives and History.
We'll do that executive session, right?
Yeah.
I got a motion, to go to closed session, executive session.
Motion.
Second.
But I get,
All in
I'm
favor?
on the internet.
Can I get a motion to go into executive session?
Search for several hours.
Motion, second, everyone in favor.
Two choices.